My name's Bill and this is part 4, the notorious Goulburn jail. Earned its name the unaliving fields, aka the end of the road, built by prisoners over a century ago, for prisoners with no parole periods. Like I said, with no future, it was nicknamed the end of the road. So before I get into this, I'm putting my story out there for the youth. We don't glorify violence on here. So if you're looking for stories of violence, I'll be taking them out. I'm telling my story to show the hardship that crime don't pay, and this is where you end up for the youth. Let's get on with this. Goulburn jail, earned its nickname the unaliving fields, built 140 years ago from now. By the time I got there, 120 years ago. So I had been sentenced to 12 years. Within a few days, it happened real quick. I faced the classification board. I knew because of episode 1, 2 and 3, you know how I done my time. I was going to the end of the road, which they did. They stamped at Goulburn. Within another few days, I was on my way on escort. So I get to Goulburn jail. You just feel the presence of Goulburn jail. You feel the history. Goulburn jail had like a badge. If you never done time in Goulburn jail, it's like you were never certified, you know. Whoever done time at Goulburn, man, wore it like a badge of honor back then. It was a rough and tough jail, so it had a stigma to it. It wasn't for everybody, Goulburn jail. Lots of people were terrified to go to Goulburn jail. The main heads of the whole jail were housed at Goulburn. So lots of people would find many ways to get off escort. I was looking forward to it. I went there, I knew boys there. By then I had been sentenced, I was about 20 years old. So I get to Goulburn jail and like I said, the shower block, the writing on the wall, it's just history there. You feel the ghosts of the past. It is a haunted jail. So that night they housed me. Next morning I come out into the yard and I was just impressed by the boys that were there. There were boys at the time that had done 30 years plus, 20 years plus, 15 years plus. So I never really got a chance to feel the 12 years that I got. I was one of the lowest sentences that I got in that yard, just to show you what that yard was about. It was their home, and that yard had its own rules, and it was run a certain way. I instantly, as soon as I got to the yard, a bag of food was given to me, clothes, shoes, TV, whatever I needed. Best boys there, I found. That was the best jail I did there, but it changed the course of how I would do jail. Now, let's get into it. Goulburn jail, back in the day, got its nickname the unaliving fields for a reason. So many people were unalived there until it got segregated into nationalities, which is insane if you think about it. So there was the Aboriginal yard, the Koori yard, there was the Lebanese yard, the building, then there was the Aussie Asian yard, and then there was the Polynesian yard. No one really got to see each other unless you walk past the fence, and really you didn't get to see into the yard that much. There was a lot of tension in the jail. They fully segregated the jail up into nationalities. So when I got there, straight away, I found everyone trains, everyone's looking good. It was a good jail at the time. We had a lot of stuff. We had meat on the buy-ups. We were getting KFC once a month, Macca's once a month and so forth, but that changed real quick. So we're doing our time. As a bit of time went by, they introduced Supermax had just opened. A lot of boys got shipped off to Supermax from Goulburn jail. And then they opened the STG unit, the gangs unit, security threat group. A few boys got a warning. I got a warning. It houses 12 people, the hardest unit built in the whole system. It was like a jail within a jail to break people with influence. So everyone got their warnings, people that had influence, and 1 warning, 2 warning. Before you knew it, a few from each yard were shipped off. And to show you, everyone from Goulburn jail got shipped off. The unit was made from boys from there, just to show you the stigma of Goulburn jail. So the older heads moved on, and now it was the new generation at Goulburn, in our yard anyway, and it was a lot of tension in Goulburn jail. So as time went by, I'll try and make this as quick as I can, and we had the Koori yard next to us, and as time went by, they had a little small triangular yard. They came to us, boys, please, can we get a bit of your yard time to get more shower time and so forth. The way the jail was positioned, all the yards faced directly forward, And there was a long yard, it was called the desert yard, which wasn't used back then. It was opened back in my time, and but the problem with that yard was it was exposed in front of every single yard, so you're in everyone's face all day. To help the Aboriginal boys out, the Koori boys, we go, listen man, we'll do a few hours in the desert yard, but we spoke to the prison guards, we need a phone in there, we need a hot plate, so forth. They didn't do that. We went there, they go, we'll be done within a week. It didn't happen. Now, the tension, like I was talking about, being in front of all the yards for a few hours every morning, reached to a boiling point. One day, a good friend of mine's walking along the fence. He's seen someone else, and there was rules there. You don't swear through fences. The jail's just not like that. Everyone stand up there. It's like starting a fake account on TikTok and abusing someone. No one's built like that there. But they had a bad day. Through the fence, they started swearing at each other. One thing led to another. It got kicked off a bit. We tried to settle it by saying, look, let's just go inside the unit one-on-one just to squash the whole thing so it doesn't blow up. And that didn't happen. So to cut the story short, we moved on. We went from that yard, we done a few hours, went to the next yard. It sort of got squashed, but there was a lot of beef. We continued training. They took away perishables from us, like meat, chicken breast, so forth like that. We were getting big. By then I had done a few years and I went into prison. I never even used to shave. Now I'm building muscle, I'm forming, and we became bigger than the actual MEU, the squad, which the system didn't like. So they took away all meat from the buy-up to take away our size, which it worked. We all shrunk down. We still looked good. We all shrunk down. I'll put some photos up of me at Goulburn Jail. Also, I'll put some photos up of Goulburn Jail itself, just so you get that, you know, the picture of how that jail. It's a dark jail. I done my best time there. I loved the atmosphere of the boys, good boys there, but it wasn't for everyone. Time had gone by, and we weren't allowed to work in our yard. We weren't allowed to work or do education. So life was in the yard pretty much every day. You wake up, you get kicked out into that yard all day long, rain, hail or shine. You take a little carry-on bag with your shower stuff and your food, and that's it. And you get locked back in at 2:30, 3 p.m. So your days are in that yard. Bit of time goes by, and I had already received my warning for the STG. Man, we had a lot of good sparring matches there, good training, good boys. There wasn't much problems. Everyone's in their own yard at that time, but there was a lot of tension of other yards. Bit of time went by. Boys are in the unit cleaning their cells, so forth, and the tension led one thing to another. 2 yards crossed, and it kicked off. A lot of people were hurt in the process. Like I said, it was a serious jail, serious boys. People had been there for a very long time, man. 40 years, 30 years, 20 years plus, you know. I was, like I said, 12 years was a low sentence for there. So I never got a chance to really cry about my sentence, to say, oh, I got 12 years. How can I complain about 12 years when this person next to me is never to be released? So anyway, it broke out in the unit, and that was my last warning for me. I got taken to MPU Goulburn. MPU SEGRO at Goulburn was just another, man, that place there, so many people have been unalived in there. You feel the presence of the jinns, the ghosts in there. I got attacked one night by a ghost. Crazy stories in there. I ended up, the unit I was in was very dark, and I kept at night, I felt a presence coming to choke me, man, on the regular. So I found out MPU had another few. It's one like a jail sort of thing, and it's got 4 units. And I wanted to get out of my unit. You're segregated, 23, 24-hour lockdowns. You got a little cage at the back of your cell. They let it out. They open it, if you're lucky, once a day, every second day. You get an hour out. And there's like a tower where the prison guards walk on top of you, you know, just monitoring you in your yard. So you don't get any sun. So that cell, that unit where I was in, man, I just kept getting attacked that night by spirits and so forth. So I had enough. I found out MPU had another few wings. So I ripped out my sink. It was porcelain at the time. Now they're all steel. I ripped out the sink, smashed it onto the toilet, ripped the toilet out, smashed it on the wall, flooded the cell where they had to get me out of the cell now, and they moved me to the other side of NPU. There were boys there now. I felt better. I never had those experiences that I had. I stayed in NPU for 6 months. I wasn't happy about that, about being in NPU for 6 months, SEGRO, because I breached my warning to go to the security threat group, the hardest unit in the system. It was made to break people. I did 11 months, no TV, 2.5 years there. You start off, it's on levels, and that place was meant to break you. Episode 5 will be about the STG unit. This place should have never been made. You don't walk out the same. You don't walk out of prison the same, but let alone the STG unit. So I wasted 6 months in Goulburn NPU waiting to go to the STG, because there was a friend of mine there that were waiting to ship him off to Supermax so I could go there. They'd only housed 12 at a time. I think I was the 13th prisoner to go to the STG unit, the security threat group, and you got to see psych on a daily and so forth to go up your levels, to get a book, a TV, a phone call. It was made to break you. Anyway, Goulburn NPU, 6 months went by. It was rough. It was, man, you get nothing there. You don't get sun. Like I said, the boys, I'd go past on visits and I'd see the boys in the yard. It's still a lot of tension. Goulburn now, all the boys are out of the yard now, so I can talk about it. But now it's only housed for boneyard protective services at Goulburn Jail. Goulburn Jail paved another way for me in jail where I took the wrong road, which made my time hard. I never went to a C-Classo and done my time easy. Goulburn Jail led me to the gangs unit, the STG unit, which till today affects me till today with taking time out and PTSD and so forth, and all the SEGRO I did and everything else. So this is my story about Goulburn Jail. The history of Goulburn Jail is so much more deeper than I've explained. Maybe in the future I can talk more about it, but I'm telling these stories to educate the youth, guys, about crime does not pay. So my clothing brand, Certified Streetwear, is dropping soon. The link is in the bio, guys. Give it a follow on TikTok and Instagram. We're a few weeks away. Certified Streetwear. We're bringing the old school back with the future. My name's UnderworldBill. I hope you enjoyed this episode, part 4. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment and push the icon. Thank you.